If you imported the music XML file in the last section of this lesson, you can continue to work on that score now. If you didn't, or you're not sure whether you fixed everything up as intended, open the catch-up file purple1.sib now, which you'll find in the Lesson 3 folder within your Core Resources folder. This file also has a few playback improvements that you won't get from the Music XML import. If you do open the catch-up file, this dialog box will open because there are some hidden comments in the file to help you add repeats later on. You don't need to see them now, so click No. Begin by adding an electric guitar tablature part to your score, and make sure it goes just above the existing guitar part. If Sibelius asks you if you want to decrease the staff size, just say no. The new guitar part is for the distorted guitar that you heard in the rough drafts made in sequences earlier in this lesson. The music to be input is shown in your book and also shown on screen, so you could copy while watching this video. To begin tablature input, select bar 5 of the guitar tablature part and press N to begin note entry. In tablature entry, the blue carré appears on the first beat, but only on the bottom E string. The notes in this guitar part are all eighth notes, or quavers if you prefer, so press the corresponding button on the keypad. Looking at the score you're copying from, you can see the bottom string should be open, which is indicated by a 0, so simply press 0 on the main part of your QWERTY keyboard. Next, press the up arrow to move the blue carré to the string above, and then type 2 to show that a finger should be placed on the second fret of that string. Keep pressing the up arrow and typing the fret numbers to be fingered. When you've finished putting the chord in, use the right arrow to move to the next note, and input the next chord as shown, but this time starting at the top and using the down arrow key to move down the guitar strings. Of course, it's silly to manually input every chord if they're the same, so once you've put in the second chord, just press R for repeat 5 times to repeat that chord another 5 times. There is a slight variation in the chord on the 4th beat, so use the up arrow key to move the carré to the 4th string and then press 0 to complete the chord. You can continue in this way, inputting the chords in this part as shown in the graphic on screen. This 4-chord pattern is repeated immediately and then used again later in the score. Select all 4 bars and type R to repeat it immediately, and then copy and paste it into bar 27. There is a second pattern in the guitar tablature part at bar 39. To put this pattern in, you'll learn an alternative method of tablature note entry using the Fretboard panel. You can open the Fretboard panel by going to the View tab in the ribbon and then checking Fretboard in the panels group. Like the keyboard panel, it can be docked and resized by clicking on the Change Size button. This drop-down list enables you to change the fretboard, although Sibelius won't let you change it to a fretboard that doesn't make sense for the instrument you may have selected in the score. The chord pattern to be input at bar 39 is shown in your book and also on screen. To start inputting, select the bar and press N for note entry as usual. You're going to input chords, so click the Toggle Note Chord Mode button in the Fretboard panel so that it turns blue. The first note is an 8th note, or quaver, so choose an 8th note in the keypad and input the first chord by clicking the 3 strings at their relative positions like this. For the open string, click on the nut, which is at the very left end of the fretboard. When you finish the chord, simply click the Move Forward button and put in the next chord. You will continue inputting the rest of the pattern like this, changing note durations and adding ties with the keypad, and inputting fret numbers with the Fretboard panel. If you look in your book, you will see some additional hints for using the repeat feature and MIDI input together with the Fretboard panel. The Fretboard panel can also be used with staves of traditional notation, so if you play and think in guitar, you may use this as your main method of note entry in Sibelius. You may even want to look at buying a MIDI guitar or a MIDI pickup for your existing guitar so you can play it straight into Sibelius. You can change the sound of the electric guitar simply by writing performance instructions on the score, just like you did with pizzicato marks for strings in lessons 1 and 2. If you're using Sibelius 7 sounds, you'll have many guitar effects available to you. They're listed in the book. In this case, add technique text at the start of the electric guitar part and write distortion to make it playback with a distortion effect. You'll hear the change in playback immediately. Adding chord symbols to your Sibelius score is even quicker than tablature because Sibelius automates most of the process for you. The pattern to be input is provided in your book and also shown on screen. Begin by putting it into the keyboard or organ part in the first bar. Select that bar and then type Ctrl and K or Command and K on a Mac, which is the shortcut for chord symbols. A cursor begins to flash above the staff. Add the E minor chord by simply typing E, M, and then press the spacebar 3 times to move forward a beat each time to where the next chord comes. Then type EM/F# # for the next chord. The hash symbol converts to a sharp, and a lowercase b converts to a flat. Continue in this way, adding the chords by typing them for the second bar of the pattern, and then, instead, try playing the A minor and A minor over B chords on your MIDI keyboard once the flashing cursor is in the right position. Sibelius analyzes the chords that you're playing on your MIDI keyboard and turns them into text. Complete the pattern with whichever method suits you best. Chord symbols like these are useful for most instrumentalists who want to improvise or comp over a pattern. Guitarists, however, may prefer chord diagrams, which you learned about in Lesson 1 to show them exactly how to finger those chords. Again, Sibelius can do this for you automatically. A quick way of copying chords from one part to another is to filter them. Select the 4 bars with the chords that you've just added, and then choose Filters from the Select group of the Home tab, and then choose Chord Symbols. This selects just the chord symbols. Copy and paste, with the usual shortcuts, the chords into the acoustic guitar part. Sibelius immediately converts them into chord diagrams using its built-in chord dictionary. If the score becomes a little cramped, just optimize staff spacing once more. If you don't like the fingering that Sibelius chooses for the chord, find the Chord Symbols group in the Text tab of the ribbon and click the Revoice Chord Diagram button repeatedly until you find a fingering you like. If you don't find the one you want, click the Edit Chord Diagram button, which allows you to custom design your own chord pattern. Click anywhere on the diagram to add a finger position, and above the nut with the Shift key held down to toggle between open and silenced strings. Once you're done, click OK, and the diagram on the score will be updated. You can also find options for editing and changing chord diagrams by simply right-clicking on them. If you're on a Mac and don't have a 2-buttoned mouse, just hold down your Control key while you click on the chord diagram.